Are you looking for the best bookshelf speakers? In this video we will look at some of the 5 best bookshelf speakers on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description. So make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. Polk Signature Elite ES15. Polk's Signature Elite ES15 bookshelf speaker has been a favorite of ours for years. It has a neutral sound character that works great for any type of music, it's especially affordable, it looks nice, and Polk offers a choice of center and surround speakers, so you can easily build a surround sound system around it. It's a great music speaker. Through several rounds of brand-concealed listening tests, our panelists have picked the ES15 as a favorite, often over much pricier speakers. In particular, they have complimented it for its neutral sound. Other than a touch of extra oomph in the treble and bass, which makes the speaker sound a little more lively, the ES15 doesn't seem to emphasize any particular instruments, voices, or ranges of the audio spectrum at the expense of others. It also has enough bass to work well on its own, without a subwoofer, for most music genres. My technical tests, described below, confirmed our listeners' impressions. Within the ES15's operating range, the measured frequency response stayed within plus or minus 2.0 decibels, which would be an impressive result even with a speaker 10 times as costly. The ES15's sensitivity measured at 87.2 dB, which means it can get over 100 dB, an uncomfortably loud sound level, with just a 30-watt amp. For the price, it looks nice. Most speakers in this price range look depressingly drab, but the ES15's curved front baffle and rounded corners give it a sophisticated enough look that it probably wouldn't garner complaints if you were to place it in a decor-critical environment. Standing just 12 inches high, it's available in simulated black oak and walnut finishes, as well as in white. The fabric grille is magnetically attached, so if you use the speaker without the grille, it has a cleaner look. Number 2. Triangle Borea BR03. The Triangle Borea BR03 speakers are a great choice for serious listeners who want the enveloping sound of real audiophile-grade speakers but don't want to spend thousands of dollars. This pair provides the most natural, balanced sound we've heard from bookshelf speakers priced under $600 per pair, and there's no real need to add a subwoofer unless you're a deep bass fan. Its sound is nearly flawless. Even after hours of listening to the BR03, I can't think of a significant complaint. When we played Lil Baby's ultra bass intensive Whoa at a loud volume, the BR03 didn't distort, and it produced only a barely perceptible amount of chuffing from its front ports. Every part of the audio spectrum, from deep bass to mid-range to treble, sounded natural, and we noticed no sonic flaws that distracted from the music. Voices, in particular, sounded smooth. In my technical measurements, the BR03 produced an admirably flat frequency response, with a variation of about plus or minus 2.5 dB through most of the audio range and an even balance of bass to mid-range to treble. Sensitivity measured at 87.3 dB, about the same as the Polk ES15, which means even a 30-watt amplifier can drive this speaker to loud levels. Number 3. Micca MB42X G2. Music lovers seeking a decent pair of speakers at a low cost will appreciate the Micca MB42X G2 set. These speakers don't sound quite as smooth and natural as our other picks, but when mated with a good small amplifier, they can easily outperform most portable speakers. This model sounds shockingly good for an under $100 pair. In our most recent round of brand-concealed testing, which focused on budget speakers, the MB42X G2 emerged as the favorite, even though the other speakers cost at least $150 per pair. This set has a natural-sounding balance of bass, mid-range, and treble. In our tests, voices sounded smooth, and no instruments were unnaturally emphasized. The bass was strong for a speaker with a 4-inch woofer, which gave the MB42X G2 a fuller sound than what we heard from its competitors. The frequency response measured impressively flat at plus or minus 2.3 dB. It's small enough to use almost anywhere. At just 9.375 inches high, the MB42X G2 is the smallest passive speaker we recommend. The grille's attached with concealed magnets rather than pins and grommets, which is unusual for models in this price range, so the speaker looks good without its grille. The design is rear-ported though, so as tempting as it might be to push these tiny speakers up against a wall, that could block the port and thin out the sound. Number 4. Andover Audio SpeakEasy. The Andover Audio SpeakEasy 4 is a thoroughly modern powered speaker system with satisfying sound at a surprisingly reasonable price. With Bluetooth support plus connections for a TV and a turntable, this audio system is all that many people will need. The sound quality is very good for the price. The SpeakEasy 4 delivers a satisfying, lively sound. In our tests, its lower treble range seemed slightly elevated, which subtly emphasized high-frequency instruments like acoustic guitars and cymbals and also lent an extra touch of clarity to voices without making the sound thin or unnatural. Although it's no bass powerhouse, it has enough bass to sound full with most musical genres. The frequency response measurements were decent for an inexpensive model, at plus or minus 4.2 dB. We found a dip of about minus 5 dB in the mid-range, which was what made the treble seem elevated. We thought this might give the speaker a boom and sizzle sound, with boosted bass and treble, but it sounded more natural to us than the measurements suggested. Incidentally, the SpeakEasy 4 is an active design, with individual amplifiers for each woofer and tweeter, but it doesn't match the performance of the ELAC debut ConneX DCB41, which is powered but not active. Number 5. ELAC debut ConneX DCB41. If you are serious about sound quality, the ELAC debut ConneX DCB41 powered speakers are a great choice. The DCB41 is similar to the Andover Audio SpeakEasy 4 in its feature set, with HDMI and phono inputs in addition to Bluetooth, but this system offers better sound and better measured performance. These powered speakers also look much nicer than most speakers in their price range. This system has an especially clear sound, especially for its size. The DCB41 is considerably more expensive than the SpeakEasy 4, but the performance improvement it offers is obvious. Our panelists praised this system's clarity, its surprisingly full sound, and its focused, realistic stereo imaging. In our tests it had the natural, uncolored sound we expect from a well-engineered, high-quality speaker. "It's hard to complain about this one, it's pretty close to just right," one listener said. The DCB41 system is no bass monster, but the bottom end is pretty impressive for a speaker of this size. On bass-heavy tunes where the SpeakEasy 4's bass sounded strained and distorted, the DCB41's bass sounded clean, punchy, and powerful even though the DCB41 is slightly smaller than the SpeakEasy 4. It offers an X-Bass enhancer button on its remote control, and in our opinion the DCB41 doesn't have bass enhancement, and the function boosts the maximum bass output by only about 1 dB,